Okay.
Beautiful.
Dismiss.
All right, cool. I feel better about you now. Ram.
Ah, yes. In my old
No, not
man adventures, I had to go to the dermatologist, get some spots looked at.
yes, I've been doing that not monthly, good Lord, yearly.
Yeah, I don't do that yearly, and Julie basically took me to the. She beat the shit out of me for not doing that.
It's kind of forced you, like, you are going.
So I was like, fine. So I went online, and of course they had an appointment that day. I'm like, oh, I'll just do it.
Yeah.
And of course they're like, oh, we got to remove these 2 spots. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah. I have a couple that they keep on being like, well, maybe we'll, remove them, but you don't have to quite yet.
Oh no, they scrape them right off me. They're not like, well, let's keep an eye on them. They're like, let's do this.
Yeah, this is our fun time, sir.
We've got a quota to make, damn it.
Sometimes it feels that way, doesn't it?
All right, you ready?
It depends. What are we ready for today?
The Thursday night hangout. Are you ready? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm singing to Zealeus.
Let's do it!
All right, muting Zealeus for just a moment so we can do the intro, and then I'll give it back to him. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Disrupt Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
Hello, good sir, on this wonderfully beautiful, if I may say, Thursday night? Is it Thursday night? Are we sure
Yes.
it's Thursday night?
Yes.
Okay,
there was
I get
some
confused about these things.
there was some confusion with me this week. I kept thinking that every single day was Wednesday, but it is indeed Thursday. I've checked my calendar. We're good to go.
I've definitely had those weeks where the day of the week just, I don't know. I have nothing witty to say, but it just, my brain breaks. I'm
There
like,
you
I
go.
don't even know what the day of the week it is anymore.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, I, of course, am your host, Charlie, and I'm joined once again by the prolific commenter himself, Zealeus.
It is good to see you here on the tubes of ones and zeros.
But of course, now, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to give you a heads up. I'm not 100% sure that we're going to have a show next week. It's not a scheduling conflict. It's just a matter of if the equipment will be connected so we could do a show, because we're doing some heavy duty work getting done in the office / basement area, starting from the 10th to the 13th, which I know the 13th is, would be the Thursday. So I don't know, like how far along they will, like if there's going to be some cleanup I'm going to need to do. So who knows? But
someday you will find out.
But that's the future. This is the now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Thursday Hangouts, a live show where we try our best to cover the topics most important to you during the show. If at any point during the show, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, opinions that you would like to share with us, please do so by dropping it in the chat on whatever platform you're watching on, be it Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook. And we will try our best to add it to the show. If we do, unfortunately, run out of time, we will add it to the very next show. So, without further ado, let us get right into it. And the first thing we got to do is talk about the fact that one of Charlie's favorite series of all time, Suikoden, is coming back. There is going to be a new Suikoden after a 22-year hiatus. We are going to have another Suikoden, but there is a catch, ladies and gentlemen.
Isn't there a catch to everything in life, it feels like?
This one is headed to mobile, and it's going to have gacha mechanics. Exactly. Zealeus, those are my thoughts exactly. There's going to be the new game is going to be called Suikoden Star Leap. It will take and here comes some confusing parts. Ready for this? It's going to take place a few years before the events of Suikoden 1, but a couple years after Suikoden 5.
Okay.
The upcoming game promises vibrant locales to explore new characters along with familiar faces,
Ooh.
But there are gotcha elements that are going to be in there.
So Wicked is one of those games that's known for having like 100 characters you can attain, right?
108.
Is each game 108?
Yes.
Oh, that's funny.
Because it's
But
the 108 stars of destiny.
So it means that, of course, they already have a large swath of heroes and heroesses that you can gotcha pull from. So they already have that built-in pool. So when they're probably looking at games, they can make the gotchas, do your 5-star ultra triple S tier character. They're like, wait, we already have a built-in roster with so Wicked in. We'll just steal that.
Well, see, here's the thing, though. I think that the gotcha mechanic is probably going to be more. I don't know if they would do it around the characters per se, like maybe unique outfits for the characters.
Most gotcha games have it. Like, if it's a mobile fighting game, most of them are around characters.
I know, but it's because the thing is with these, if it follows the logic of past Suikoden's, you do have you have a pool of 108 characters. Now, not all of these characters actually will help you in battle per se. Some of them are needed for like shopkeeping and blacksmithing, and maybe that's where they'll do the gotcha, is that you won't be able to have your own merchants and upgraders and enchanters unless you pay into it.
Ooh. Well, I guess, is it the idle hero type of gotcha game, or is it more of the Genshin Impact type of gotcha game?
Right.
Because you're right. If it's the Genshin Impact, then you're right. Then that is more of the outfit style of gotcha.
Yeah.
Versus if it's the Hero Battle Royale 5v5, then that's all about the character power of the, good old OG gotcha games where it's all about hero power. So either way, I think this is a game that I might be sleeping on.
I will. Yeah. I maybe one day it will come to console / PC, and maybe I might dip my toe into it then. But on the mobile device, I'm sorry, but the Suikoden games last forever because you're having to collect 108 characters. So it's not like it's not going to be. I just don't see myself playing this in bite-sized chunks.
You mean you're not going to like try to relive your nostalgic past and be like, I'm going to play this day 0. Let's go.
Oh no, I mean I at some point will probably, I'm actually very surprised that I haven't, buckled under the pressure and gotten the re-release of Suikoden 1 and 2 HD edition on the Switch yet. That's actually mind-boggling. Actually, the reason for that is because I've been playing Avowed. And
I thought you're just lacking in your old age.
I know. Damn it. Anyways, but had to make the announcement. They said that they'll have more new the company behind Suikoden, of course, is Konami, and they'll have more information soon. So gotta love that vagueness.
We want to take your dollars.
Yes. Okay. So, I think either last week or maybe like a week and a half ago, one of the co-founders of BioWare went on some podcast, was talking about how it was working at EA. And he had some very interesting things to say. The first thing is that he will fully admit that at the time, while under the EA umbrella, that he was hopeful that the MMO that he was working on was going to be able to allow him to basically stage a coup and take over EA from the inside. But unfortunately, that game did not do as well as it was. It's still there. I mean, it's still doing well, but it was seen as the WoW killer. And ladies and gentlemen, just in case you've been living under a rock, there is yet to be a WoW killer. WoW continues to reign supreme up on high, and the game that this gentleman the game that they tried to create, or I mean, they created and has done well, just not WoW numbers well, is Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Ah, yes.
So, But I do like it that he fully admits, like, yeah, we were hoping that it would do really, really well, and then we could kind of take over from the inside. He also voiced his opinions about EA. Working for EA, they basically give you enough rope to hang yourself with. Some really glowing reviews. Because it's kind of sad. Because, okay, for those out there who may, once again, be living under a rock, Zealeus and I have been playing games for quite a while. And EA used to be this haven back in, like, the early 90s for smaller studios to have, like, a publisher that will get their game to market. And then EA basically, exactly, EA Sports became a thing, and then they're like, ooh, we like this green stuff called money, so ha ha ha. And so it was all about the monies or the Benjamins or whatever you want to talk about. And it became less about the creativity because they were becoming tougher and tougher on loosening those purse strings.
Indeed.
But I do the podcast that he was talking on was called My Perfect Console. And of course, the gentleman, his name is Greg. The reason why I've been avoiding trying to say his name is I know I'm going to butcher his last name, but I'm going to try anyways. Greg
Go.
Zeschuk,
Well,
I think is how you
I'm not
pronounce
going
his
to
name.
you.
But we're just going to go with that. Also, on the same podcast, he also mentioned that he also was really pissed over what happened. Sam says, like every movie company, less creativity, all profits, hence remakes after remake. Exactly, because it's a known entity. So why the hell would we try something that's unproven? Now,
Okay,
of course,
I'm going to ask you. I'm going to interject with a quick question. Then.
yes,
Because I literally just saw an advertisement on Twitch for it.
yeah,
What about Daredevil Reborn? Where is that in the spectrum? Because it was not originally on Disney Plus. It was originally on Netflix.
right,
Obviously, those rights went back to Disney.
right.
So where does that fall in the spectrum of less creativity versus remakes?
Okay, so that is from my understanding, that's a continuation, right?
It is. Yes.
So, in my opinion, awesome. That's great. You got Charlie Cox back as Daredevil. You even got what's the actor's name? The one who plays Kingpin.
Vincent something.
Yeah. You got the guys back, which is pretty impressive since there's a break between the Netflix and now you've got the Daredevil thing. So I never actually watched it when it was on Netflix.
Ooh, it's good.
I've been told it's freaking phenomenal, fantastic, amazing. So
it's
I've got high hopes.
Kid show too. It teaches them a lot about sportsmanship and how to interact with people and take on bullies.
And the other thing is that it's not the Ben Affleck movie.
Well, yes.
But anyways,
I've never actually seen the Ben Affleck version.
Don't save yourself the however much money it would cost you to watch it now. I don't even know.
I mean, I would never directly pay money to see it unless it was like on a service I already have.
Yeah, just find it streaming sometimes. If it's on there and maybe you are just absolutely 100% bored and you're in for you don't know what kind of mood, then maybe pop it on.
Clearly, you are giving a glowing endorsement.
Raven reviews from me.
I think I'm about to have to sign up early so I can go find it on pay-per-view.
Yes, exactly. Anyways, so also on this podcast, he talked about how Microsoft dicked him over with a title that's phenomenal. Zealeus will even agree with me saying this title was phenomenal. Unfortunately, Microsoft basically convinced BioWare to release a game onto the Xbox just as the 360 was coming out. And so as a result, you didn't get what could have been an amazing launch title for the 360 became like a kind of an afterthought on the Xbox, unless you actually picked up the game and you discovered, holy shit, this game's amazing. And the game I'm talking about is Jade Empire.
Oh, right through the heart, man. Right through the
Yeah.
heart. There's a game I want remade. I know we talked about it. It's Jade freaking Empire. So good. So good.
And Microsoft, let me see if I can find the exact what was the exact quote that Microsoft said? Damn, I hope I can find it.
So interesting enough, Jade Empire is actually on Steam for only $15.
Basically, the Microsoft said they thought that that it would do better on the Xbox as the 360 was about to launch.
Which it played very well on the Xbox 360, but it's a very unknown game for what should have been a known game.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. It should have been almost like Mass Effect in terms of popularity. But
here's how this is how close they were. The game Jade Empire was released on the original Xbox April 2005. Now, for those who don't know, the Xbox 360 released November 2005. So literally, it was end O cycle. It was DEA dead. I almost said DED dead. You know, little shout out to Robin Hood Minutites, but
it was dead, dude.
It was dead. And Microsoft's like, oh no, this would be great to put on the original Xbox.
Why?
So they could sell a couple of cheap Xboxes extra before the 360 released? I don't know.
Idiots.
Absolutely. I totally agree. So yeah.
Corporate politics, the fun of it.
Now let's speaking of Microsoft and the Xbox, let's talk about the rumored next update for the latest Xbox and what apparently is happening with this update. Zealeus, have you heard about this?
I honestly have no idea what you're talking about.
So apparently the new console update 2504 point blah 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 reportedly causes factory resets on Xbox Series XS consoles. Oh, but it gets better.
Oh,
this update also reportedly disrupts updates for games and apps, preventing fans from installing updates.
Yikes!
Now, of course, their Xbox is in the process of rolling out a fix so this doesn't happen. But as of right now, this I guess it's not really. Apparently, if you have it, if you've already installed the update, you will still, after the fix comes out, there's a very good chance that you'll have to manually configure some settings in order to make everything get back in working order.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two thoughts in my mind. One is people who potentially get hosed from not having their save games on the cloud because you don't expect your Xbox to get factory reset.
Yep.
And the second is data freaking caps.
Yep.
If you have 500 gigabytes on your drive and you have all the stuff, over months that you've downloaded or years, downloaded, installed, that's fine. But all of a sudden you get a factory reset and now you want to download most of that in a month. That would put a lot of people over.
Yep.
Excuse me. So yeah, that pretty much sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Good job on QAing there, guys.
Yeah, there's this fun thing called QA, quality assurance. And I could go on and on about QA because that's kind of my jam, but apparently it's just not something that big companies do anymore. Zealeus, you're muted.
Thank you. I muted myself while sneezing. I was looking real quick since you mentioned it. It looks like from what I'm seeing,
Uh-huh.
is it's part of the Xbox Insider testing program.
Yep.
So it's only the beta and alpha really kind of getting the people. So on one hand, it's, you're taking that liability on yourself for being a
Right.
beta tester.
Right.
On the other hand, that's still a pretty big ass bug to make it into Xbox preview regardless. Like normally, breaking like actual breaking bugs like that should not even make it to beta in the first, like public beta in the first place. But obviously something got missed.
Yeah.
Big time.
So.
Because that's supposed to be one of the benefits of the consoles is like you have such a limited array of setups where it's much easier to account for those various, configurations and test for. In theory.
Exactly.
You would think.
You would think. But,
You'd think.
Microsoft, can always surprise us, and they have. Once again.
Good job, guys.
Hooray for you. All right, speaking of hooray for you, let's talk about the fact that the Gears of War collection is coming. I don't remember exactly when it's coming.
Ooh.
Now there's a couple rumors about it. One is that this potential collection may be coming to the PlayStation 5 because Gears of War has always been an Xbox exclusive.
Yep.
But one of the other rumors that is getting a lot of people really pissed off and up in arms is the fact that upon launch, now let me stress this, upon launch, there is rumored not to be any multiplayer. There is rumored to be hot seat co-op, just no multiplayer.
But that's not Halo.
Well, right, it's not Halo, but it's Gears of War. But I mean,
sorry, wow, yeah. Wrong game. Still, like that's what like. I don't know, actually. I mean, Halo's so when I think of like FPS franchises, to me, Halo's all about multiplayer. I know there's a single player mission, I totally get it, but like to me, Halo is that multiplayer game.
Yep.
Whereas Gears of War to me was more like hot seat co-op than like online multiplayer FPS, right? That's kind of how I look at it. So I guess when it comes to the Gears of War franchise, I'm not sure I see as big a issue with that one. Maybe necessarily having multiplayer right away.
Thanks, Chip. He says the best show ever. Thank you.
Oh.
No, you're right. Gears of War, if you were to compare the level of fanatics from online Halo to online Gears of War, Halo there's a Halo Online, type of situation where Gears of War, yes, there is online, but it wasn't like the key component. And I felt like some of the modes for online play were kind of, I don't want to say gimmicky, but it was instead of, having like a 5v5 capture the flag match, it was more like survive the waves of the horde, try to hold the base down.
But at the same time, not having multiplayer right away maybe means that you'll have a really good single player FPS campaign.
True.
Which there's definitely a market for that. So
well, I mean, just to be clear, this is the first 3 Gears of War games bundled.
Oh,
it's not a new Gears of War game.
I gotcha. So it's like an HD remaster of them.
Yeah. It's the 360 versions.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's those 3 games that were released on the 360. They're not going to re-release the 360 version. They're
like a remastered version.
Yeah.
I never really played them back in the day, so I'm also not as maybe nostalgic about the necessity of the multiplayer form either.
Right. Well, I do want to point this out though. Dave Bautista is still like screaming from his hill that he's like, make Gears of War the movie. I am your lead.
He would look like it.
Yeah.
Honestly, him, like, the funny thing is, like, him, John Cena, and The Rock would all actually look very natural in those roles.
Oh God, yes.
Like, they're all three basically superheroes in real life. Just throw them in that, and I could see the three of them just taking the reins and doing their thing.
Dude, that would be
yeah.
awesome.
You always have to have the one random female star. So there's plenty of WWE wrestlers who look like they could handle themselves against some alien incursions.
Because I mean, let's be honest. If anyone's ever seen Gears of War, it looks like the characters basically are on the craziest weight regime. I mean, they are beyond swole. But then
Which,
again,
if anyone doesn't actually know, is extraordinarily impractical for being a soldier.
Yeah,
that's the irony.
Well, they got to have those. They've got to be able to handle those assault rifles with the chainsaws.
Wow, that's very impressive, Sam. That you have 5,520 hours in Battlefield 1 and you never played single player. Is there a single player campaign even in Battlefield 1? That's the real question.
I would think so. There's probably more of one than there is the Call of Duty Modern Warfares. I feel.
I don't know.
But no, when I've played shooter games, and Zealeus was talking about, the Gears of War and how it's been more co-op. That's ironically, that's the game my dad and I played a lot on the 360 was co-op Gears of War.
Well, I remember playing some Gears of War with you on the 360.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, because I think of like single player FPSs nowadays. I either think of Borderlands or Outriders, which I know not many people don't know what Outriders is, but it's a fantastic game that should have had a better delivery.
Right.
But what they all do have in common is they have some kind of multiplayer component. But it's kind of like randomly thrown on, I feel like. They all have like weird like both of the Borderlands and Outriders. It's like, oh, there's this lobby thing that you can join. Yeah, go for it. I've never joined a lobby in either of them.
Come join the cool kids.
Yeah. Versus a game like Halo, where it's like multiplayer is why you play it.
Yeah. No,
or I guess Battlefield 1 you played because it's multiplayer, not to play single player, according to the 5,500 hours Sam has.
And I will fully admit, Sam, I can't even come close to that with hours per.
So for a quick rundown, 5,500 hours, in case you're curious, that's 230 days of video game play. That's quite impressive, I must say.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at Steam right now, and I'm pretty sure that Steam would probably be the best one for me to tell you for multiplayer experiences. And the closest I've got, which is not even close to 5,500 hours, is just shy of 300 hours, and that would be Paladins.
I think I got to around 500 in Final Fantasy 14. And a not insignificant amount of that was probably idling.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't have that much dedication to a game. I get bored. Like, let's do something else with my life.
When it's a shooter, I can understand that, there's always going to be, matchmaking, you might have a different experience or you might try a different character, but in like a Battlefield, having never played Battlefield, I can't tell you how much variety between. I'm guessing you just swap out your guns, but
no,
I would suck at it. I'm going to be honest with you. I would suck at it.
Well, there is something. So, kind of going on that tangent, though. So, a game like Battlefield that's been out for years.
Yep.
And this is actually an issue with online games is if it's been out for years, it can be hard or intimidating now jump into particularly competitive FPS PvP type of game when you have zero experience in it, because
Right.
everyone's either going to have, thousands of hours experience, or you have Smurfs, which is also an issue. So it's like, it is kind of nice that you can get in a game where you find a competitive game you like from, the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, if you stop playing for a while or you kind of jump in it later, it's like a little bit
Yeah.
overwhelming.
I've found that if I get into a competitive game, I have to keep with it. Hell, even single player games that not I don't want to say competitive, but are not going. You can't play freaking Rambo and just spam the shit out of the buttons and hope to do well. Just taking a short amount of time off, I'm doomed.
Well, even non FPS or PvP games, like
Yeah.
PvE games have been out for a while, like Final Fantasy 14,
Mm-hmm.
like to play the main story quest up from like the OG or Realm Reborn up through the expansions is literally hundreds of hours.
Yep.
To play through. So, you can spend basically the equivalent. I mean, obviously, I think it's a great game because I played over the years, but if I were looking at it now as a new player.
Hold on. Some music is playing. There we go. Sorry. I don't know what just happened.
Oh, that happens to me sometimes on my Zoom calls. They'll say something like, the map of Africa, and my Google Maps or my Google system will start telling you about the maps of Africa.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, really? Because it's always listening. Yeah, it's like, that's a lot of hours to put like 300 hours into a game if you haven't played it from the beginning.
Yeah.
And so you start playing, it's like, wow, do I want to spend all these hours in the game, or do I play like 10 games in that duration?
Right.
Yeah.
Different strokes for different folks.
True that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to pause real quick to thank the individuals who help Alter Confusion be the Alter Confusion that you love and adore, and that, of course, is the friends of the show. So without further ado, let's jump right into it, shall we?
Indeed.
First up is the Indie Cluster. The Indie Cluster is an organization of independent game developers that want to gain exposure by being involved in the community. They collectively journey to popular conferences, a traveling booth, to help gain attention for their games. They make partnerships in local communities to bring games to the mainstream mindset. They highlight local, unusual, and rare concepts to challenge the paradigm of the common. They also host events to teach kids and minority groups about game development to hopefully one day enter the industry themselves. For more information, go to indiecluster.com. The next shout out we got to give is to the AV master himself. That, of course, is Noodle Boy Media. Founded in 2015 by Andrew Tran, Noodle Boy Media, previously White Kid 47 Media, is your choice for professional photo shoots and panel recordings at conventions. They pride themselves in providing a high level of professionalism, top-notch experiences, and quality services. If you want more information and to view their full list of services, check out facebook.com/noodleboymedia. The next shout out we got to give is to an individual who helped get all those aches and pains out of your body from maybe long days sitting in front of a computer, or maybe you overexert yourself gardening or playing basketball or something. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're in the greater Atlanta area, you've got to check out Hero Chiropractic. Hero Chiropractic is a unique healthcare practice set up by Ryan Moore. The company's focus to elevate a patient's experience of freedom, creative expression, and joy. They believe that everyone can be a hero and has incredible heroic potential inside themselves waiting to be unleashed. Hero Chiropractic focuses on mobile chiropractic care in the greater Atlanta area. They are committed to healing clients by creating a plan of action uniquely suited for each person. They make that plan of action as convenient and affordable as possible, and most importantly, suited to your individual needs. For more information, go to herochiropractic.com. And I stand by this statement. What he did to help with the pain I was having in my arm, freaking magical. Because holy crap, I jacked up something in my bicep, and he was able to adjust it out. So, herochiropractic.com if you're in the greater Atlanta area. The next shout out we're going to give is to the Music Maestro, and that, of course, is CrossPad Creative. Need a new logo or want to work on a full branding and content strategy, or maybe you need music or audio for your content, just like Alter Confusion? CrossPad Creative offers a whole host of solutions to individuals and small businesses. Just email Josh at crosspadcreative@gmail.com and see what he can do for you. And I'm going to pause real quick before I do the next one because I have got something in my throat and I need to take a sip of water.
Oh dear. Get that frog out.
All right, let's try this. The final one we got to do is the original backer on Patreon, and that, of course, is Agile Axiom. By day, Axe leads both the development team and system administration team working with satellites at NASA's Goddard campus. But while not in meetings and many times during, he is the Agile evangelist, Agile Axe, championing the philosophy of Agile and trying to make the world a better place for software developers, testers, system admins, and software projects the world over. Decades of experience in software development and leading Agile teams are brought to bear against evil processes, inefficient work, and bad habits. For more information, go to agileaxiom.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I know that you are dying to know, how do I become a friend of the show? Well, it's quite simple, my friends. All you got to do is follow this. Ladies and gentlemen, Alter Confusion survives and loves support of fans like you, and so we have a Patreon page. Patreon lets you, the fans, lovers, haters, demigods, interdimensional beings, gods, demons, aliens, werewolves, vampires, mummies, swamp creatures, zombies, supporters, and more to become active participants in the work we love through a monthly membership. This gives you access to exclusive content, community, and insight into our creative process. In exchange, we gain a bit more freedom to do our best work and stability we need to build an even stronger creative career. We currently have 2 tiers. There's the $1 tier, that's $1 a month, or $12 a year. What that gets you is early access to all of our playthroughs, as well as the ability to participate in patron-only posts. Now, if you're feeling a little extra fisky, there's the $5 a month or $60 a year tier, and what that will get you is everything at the $1 tier, but also your name or organization added to the friends of the show of every single Thursday night hangout. So if you want to become a patron of Alter Confusion, go to Patreon. That's patreon.com/Altered Confusion today. The next thing we got to tell you is, ladies and gentlemen, we are super duper proud to say that we have been fundraising for Extra Life for 14 years straight. Extra Life is gamers doing what they do best, game, to help sick and injured children at their chosen Children's Miracle Network hospital. The money that we raise through Extra Life will go directly to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta as unrestricted funds. This means that the hospital decides where and how to spend the money to ensure the dollars we raise make the greatest impact in the lives of the kids they treat. So if you have the capacity to donate, please go to extra-life.org and search for Alter Confusion. Now, for a little further housekeeping, ladies and gentlemen, I know that you are dying to know, how do I get some of the Alter Confusion merch that I see that Charlie's wearing on his head? Or I've seen it on the back of Charlie's laptop. Or I've heard that there is a pet dish that I could get my hands on, or a coffee cup, or flip-flops, or a journal. Ladies and gentlemen, all you got to do is go to alteredconfusion.tv/merch. That's MERCH. And you too can get hooked up with some Alter Confusion gear.
I don't see the flip-flops anymore.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh,
What happened?
you know what? There was a price hike, and I think it just removed it from it until I changed the price.
Oh, I didn't know, like, if they sold out or if, like, sandals are no longer legal in the United States because they're woke.
Who knows? Who knows? It's a crazy world we live in. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to pause real quick because I just remembered something about Extra Life, so I got to go grab it. So give me, like, a couple seconds. 1 sec.
1 second. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. 4 seconds. 5 seconds.
Thank you for actually counting Zealeus.
6 seconds. Yeah,
All
hey,
right,
I'm trying to keep you accountable.
Yes. Okay, so one of the things that that if you actually sign up to be part of Extra Life, they have incentives. You raise a certain amount of money and you get the T-shirt or you get the sticker or whatever. This past week, I got 2 things in the mail that I really wanted to show off. First off, I've already reached the goal for this year's Extra Life sticker, so here it is right here. This is one of the better stickers. This one might actually go on my car. The last couple of years is kind of So they've gone. I mean, it's not that I'm not going to display them. They've gone on the laptop. But
Nice.
the other thing is because of the amount of money that we raised, or I raised last year, we hit a goal that rewards us with a medal, and this is the 2024 silver medal for fundraising. So yes, awesome. I think this is the second time I've been able to do this. So out of the 14 years, you know, it's pretty cool to actually hit milestones where you're getting this big of a reward. So thank you to everyone out there who donated to the Extra Life campaign last year, and let's just do it again this year. All right, and yes, I would love it if you, huh?
I say it's just your excuse to be able to game for 24 hours and not get. Well, you do get interrupted, but it's your excuse to be able to game for 24 straight hours. That's my
exactly.
Yes. It's a win-win.
And you know, maybe in a couple of years, I will finally allow for my kids to tag team, so that maybe I could get like an hour or two nap in there, and they can game for a little bit.
Boo.
Oh, come on, Zealeus. I have successfully done the 24 hours for 13 years straight.
I think you have to make it 24 years of 24 hours.
Oh my God. Listen, just so we know here, 24 times 13. So on the actual Extra Life day for the past 13 years, I've put in 312 hours of gaming.
And yet, you still have less hours than Sam's Battlefield 1.
Exactly. Because that's such an amazing stat that I can't. I don't even. I'm sure that if I combined all my gaming that I've done, maybe I could start approaching that, Sam. But that's just a number that's so freaking high that it's too impressive. It's just too impressive. All right, let's jump back into some of the topics. I came across an article the other day talking about a certain type of gaming mechanic. The gaming mechanic was lock picking, which actually, if it's done right, it's kind of fun. I can't tell you. Like, there's a lot of games that are like your lock. For example, Avowed. Your lock picking is literally, do you have lock picks in your inventory? Okay, this door or chest requires X amount of lock picks. Now just hold down the one key on your keyboard, and once the basically progress bar fills up, then poof, yeah, you win. But there are some games that actually take lock picking to the next step. Oh, case in point, Hogwarts Legacy has a pretty cool lock picking mechanic. So does Starfield, which I know I shit on Starfield a lot, but the lock picking was a lot of fun because you had these different kind of like key configurations, and you had to use them. You could only use them once, and depending on the complexity of the lock, you had like several different layers that you had to kind of use to unlock the thing. So that was pretty cool. But that made me think, are there any mechanics out there, Zealeus, that you get super excited about?
Fighting mechanics. I'm going to go crush you with my lightning dagger.
So when you say fighting mechanics, are you talking like the actual combat or just
Yes.
like the variety?
Just combat in general. That's what gets me excited about video games. Crushing things, destroying them. So what I actually really like are first-person shooters that have turrets.
First-person shooters that have turrets?
That you can, like, one of your special abilities is a turret.
So
they can
like Overwatch.
lay down your turret to, like, take fire off of you and suppress fire. You kind of use it as like a quick companion.
Yeah.
That mechanic I really like.
A deployable.
Yeah, a deployable. Those I enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like there are definitely combat mechanics when it's real time mechanics. You've got, in my opinion, if you do the combat mechanics half ass, I'm not going to play the game when it's in real time, because I need I you know it's just it's the same as um like jump mechanics.
Yeah.
If it's not smooth, it's going to. I'm OCD. It's going to annoy the crap out of me. And if there's a lot of combat, but the combat's kind of, I'm. It's just I'm going to start pulling out what little hair I have left on my head, and I'm going to say screw it. There's so many other games out there.
What I don't like are quick time advanced with your controller, because I never know what button they're referring to, because every bloody controller is different.
Hit the X button. Now hit the yellow button. Now hit the circle.
My brain just can't compute. I'm like, I don't know what button, because I don't remember what console I'm using right now.
And of course, the A and B are swapped on certain controllers.
So that one annoys me. I hate fishing mechanics in like every game.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't. They're like the. I would guess
you gotta do that progress bar, and you gotta get the progress bar just right. And you gotta like balance, like letting go and pressing to keep it. I just don't
the
like
pressure valve type of situation.
Yeah, it's just I don't find it enjoyable at all.
But what was the game? There was a game out there that had that, but it also had a timer on it.
Oh,
and so not only do you have so I get the hold the space bar or hold the button down to reel it in, and then, oh no, the fish is trying to run away, so ease up off it because you're going to break your line. But then adding the mechanic of you got to reel it in 25 seconds.
And what I also generally don't like are, and usually PvE games, we have maps, and basically to move on to the next, and usually it's in-game type of mechanics, but the maps are timed. And I hate them because basically they're DPS checks.
Yeah.
That require you to basically use meta builds. And that's why I don't like it. Like, I'm like, if you figure out a build, and they basically discourage defensive builds, because all of a sudden you can survive like anything, but because you don't have enough DPS, you can't beat that map. And that's why I don't like it, is it kills build diversity, and it basically makes defensive mechanics pointless, because it all becomes about being a glass cannon. Basically almost have like enough passive defense to take some damage, but kill them before they kill you. So that's why I strongly dislike time maps, is because you can't be creative and do off meta strategies. Now, if your off meta can't handle the DPS of the enemies, that's totally cool. I get that.
Right.
I have no issue with that.
Right.
But it just creates a DPS meta check, and that's all it becomes. And that's why I don't like it. And a lot of games do it. It's like, to me, it's like a cop out from developers on how to deal with end game maps.
So here's a mechanic that I didn't think. I don't know. I guess it didn't. I'm usually a pretty goody two shoe. I try to be like totally neutral. I'll do some bad stuff, I'll do some good stuff, but I'll just toe that line. But your actions don't have consequences in a game that it feels like your actions should indeed have consequences. I'm playing Avowed, and your dialogue choices will basically dictate, will you be able to solve this problem peacefully, or are you going to end up having to slay this person? So there's definitely consequences to your selections. That being said, you can go into everyone's house and steal all their shit right in front of them, and it's nothing. Like when you play in any of the Elder Scrolls, people are like, hey, don't do that. Oh, you're in trouble now. In Avowed, it's just
for it.
I'm stealing shit off of people's plates while they're sitting at tables.
That's pretty dumb. I agree.
Nothing like I'm going up to yes, it's an NPC. It's not really a merchant, but they're selling their cabbages on the side of the road. I could just walk up there and steal all their cabbages and walk off. I'm like, I I
Yeah,
feel
I agree. It kills the immersion of in a game.
yeah.
100%.
It's what's the word I'm looking for? Um, it kind of it kills the immersion, but also kind of like kills my like emotional level, like you know,
Because it's a game where consequences are supposed to matter, but they're not.
right?
Yeah.
Like I was definitely having um Sam said Red Dead 2 had that mechanic. Your actions affect how people treat you throughout the game. Pretty cool. Right. If you steal a bunch of shit, then people are not going to like you when you go into town.
The only one I don't like particularly is in a party-based game,
Yeah.
PvE party,
Yeah.
where your actions can cause your party mates to leave the party.
Oh, yeah.
That I don't like. Like, I'm all for like my decisions affecting the neighbors and like maybe I become like an evil person and the townspeople try to kill me. That I'm fine with. But like, I don't like it when it can drive my party members out. And I get it's immersive and realistic. Like,
Right.
I'm not saying it's not, but just from a escape fantasy perspective,
Right.
I
Well,
don't want. And maybe it pisses them off, and they don't, and like they're mean to me. That's
right.
one thing. When it actually causes them to leave the party, that to me is just like a downer. I'm like, well, like it's just not fun. I guess is the difference.
Well, then you truly have to like second guess everything because now you have to take in the strategy of the team dynamic, and maybe this is the tank, this is the guy that's saving your life, but perhaps the rest of your party is just beyond evil, and he can't take the fact that you stole the last cabbage from that vendor, and so
Yeah.
he walks away. That's that's that penalization, that penalty is a little too. Like I know that there's definitely games out there that there is kind of like a friendly meter.
Yeah.
Like people, if you go one way, they're absolutely like head over heels in love with you, and they will basically give you their firstborn. So you get like maybe like a combat bonus or whatever. And
That
then
I'm
on
fine
the
with.
other side, there's like, I can't stand you, but I'm here for the team. So you don't get, maybe some extra buffs or something, but they still stick with you.
That I'm cool with. Like
Yeah,
some
same here.
kind of positive negative buff that I can get behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of mechanics, sometimes mechanics like combat and other things may make the game a little too hard. So the question I was asked last night actually was, how long does it take you to tweak that difficulty if you really, really want to keep playing the game, but there's something that you just cannot accomplish at the game difficulty that you set at?
Not particularly long to be honest.
Yeah.
I was actually talking about Outriders earlier, and I
Mhm.
really like what they do is they have a world tier difficulty, and it's like 20 difficulties.
Uh-huh.
So it's pretty wide spectrum as far as how hard can you get it. And the way that the game works is like by default, it basically increases that tier, which is your difficulty level.
Right.
And all of a sudden you hit a brick wall, you're like, what the hell? This game just got really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'll give the maps a couple of good goes and be like, okay, can I beat this like on this? But if it gets to the point where it's just frustrating, I'm like, screw it, I'm turning down the difficulty level. Maybe I'll get a better gun and then I can turn it back up or something. So yeah, I'm okay with turning down the difficulty if it's like, if I'm just getting frustrated, not having fun with the game because the difficulty is too hard.
Yeah.
It's either going to be like Bloodborne, where I just say, screw this, I'm quitting the game because I hate life now.
Yeah.
Or a game like Outriders, I'll just turn down the difficulty level. And like, I like a challenge. Like, I still like to feel like I have to like think and try.
Right.
But it's when it just gets to the point where it's just not fun and I just like don't even know what to do to win the map, then I'm just like, this just isn't fun anymore.
Yeah. For me, I'm basically in the same boat. One there's one type of effect damage that you could take in Avowed that has just owned my ass. And well, actually, there's two. One is poison, which is pretty common, but there are certain enemies out there that somehow just they keep like pouring on the poison no matter what you do, because there's this fruit that you could take that takes away the poison and then immediately goes right back, and that sucks.
Oh,
And then also electricity
oh,
has been like the bane of my existence. I can set me on fire. That's fine. But electricity just drains me way too fast.
huh. Hmm.
So for me, I think it's definitely um, it would definitely be if I'm getting my ass whooped on like it's usually going to be a boss battle.
Yep.
If I'm getting my ass whooped on a boss battle, and I've tried a couple different strategies, and I'm still getting my ass whooped, then I'm gonna take that difficulty down just for that, and then I'll pop it back up to the regular. Because if I basically could stand on my own, that's the thing that drives me nuts about Avowed and some other games is that I'm in a good place with my level, with my skills, all that stuff, and everything in that immediate area I can handle some of the enemies a lot easier than others, which awesome. But then like all of a sudden, you got like a boss that's not really it's not a game ending boss. It's just in your way, and it should be. I don't know, the scaling's weird. And all of a sudden it like three shots you, and you're like, what the like I'm battling my ass out. I'm in most boss battles I'm using like 4 health potions, or maybe I get lucky and the boss gets stuck on some geometry.
Yes.
And I just kick out my bow and just keep shooting him in the head.
Yep. Yep. I know
But
that feeling.
if that boss is absolutely just destroying me, and there's no real like feeling of that makes sense why they're destroying me, then I will drop that difficulty in a heartbeat.
I've been playing lately a lot of Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
Good lord, that is such a buggy freaking game.
Yeah, it is.
But what's that?
Yeah, it is.
And part of it is, yes, there's so many of the bosses I've got caught like on funky geometry.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I just sit here and slowly kill from afar. I'm like, whatever, I'll take the win.
No, if you've ever watched me stream Avowed, there's when the more difficult battles, my companions unfortunately will end up dying, and if you can run over there, and I think it's hold the R button or R key, it will resurrect them. I'll bring it back to life, or maybe it's the F key. I don't remember. Anyways, it's one of the keys. I know what it is when I'm playing. I don't actually look at
Yep,
the keyboard
I
when
know
I
that.
touch it, um, but I can't tell you how many times while I'm playing Avowed, I'll say, I'm coming to get you. Don't worry, I'm gonna get you." And then of course, as soon as you end up killing all of the creatures, they all just pop back up like, "Oh well, that was a good rest." And so I always like I always apologize during the stream. I'm like, "I'm so sorry, Kai or Maris,
Yep.
for not getting to you. I promise the next one, the next one."
Nice.
Um, but yeah, I had the one of the I think it was on Tuesday. I was battling this random ogre, and that ogre was just absolutely whooping the crap out of my companions. But I was on like an elevated spot, and he got knocked back by one of my companions' attacks, and his head got stuck on like um this piece of wood that was draped from one side to another above him, because he's an ogre, so he's freaking huge. And his head got stuck there. I just stood on a rock, and I was just like, all right, boom, boom, boom. I love those moments.
Or you take like almost the reverse, where like in Hogwarts Legacy,
Yep.
once you get the Avada Kedavra spell
Yep.
against like trolls, for instance, it almost makes the game like easy because think
I'm going to be totally honest with you. Never used any of the unforgivable curses.
lame. Come on, it's the fantasy. I had to try it and see.
Couldn't do it. Didn't do it.
But I was like, let me try this out. I'm like, oh wow, I just one shot a troll. Cool. Or like the what is it, the Crucio spell where like now they fight on my behalf. I'm like,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Nope.
You're now
Nope.
my puppet.
I did not turn to the dark side.
But to be fair, that's also I know Harry Potter didn't have a good evil spectrum at all.
Yeah.
But there was a little bit of that where I felt dirty using like the Adabra Kedavra because we all know it's the killing spell.
Yep.
And like you're doing these in front of people. Like it's pretty obvious that I'm now like a dark wizard and nobody cares.
Yeah.
Like, well, whatever.
There was, oh shoot, what was the name of the game now? Oh, it's going to bother me. It was an Xbox 360 game. And I know I've brought it up before, but this game it's all about stealth. However, you could go the opposite way.
Dishonored?
Yes, there it is. Dishonored. If you went stealthy, like your environment stayed nice, pristine, clean. But if you went on like a killing rampage, everything got like nasty rats and like plague everywhere. That's speaking of mechanics, that was a kind of an interesting mechanic. I think I basically was like middle of the road on that one.
It's on my list. I've heard it's a great game and I should play it.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know about the second one. I never played the second one, but the first one was actually a game that I played during one of the Extra Life Game-a-thons.
Nice.
And actually had someone call me and ask if I was okay because I fell asleep on the controller in the middle of the stream, and so I'd been walking into the same wall for the past 5 minutes.
Oh, it's just keeping the wall up.
Yeah, I'm just doing my part, man. Doing my part. I don't know if you've seen this or not, because WB has been trying desperately to scrub the internet clean of this, but apparently this is, by the way, this show has been canceled. It's already canceled. They never actually showed it, but there was a push to have a live-action Powerpuff Girls show.
Oh, sure.
And the trailer has been making its rounds on the internet, and then WB's run out and try to delete it. Of course, as anyone knows, once it's on the internet, it's always on the internet. But I watched it, and it's bad.
I was wondering because I've seen like random post about Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Powerpuff Girls is coming to TV. Okay. I didn't actually care or click on it, so now I know what the story is. Thank you.
It's like I think one of the commenters that on the video that I saw said it best. It's like a really bad, unfunny SNL skit about if Powerpuffs were live action.
Well, I guess maybe that's why it got canceled.
It's bad. It's really bad.
Problem solved.
Yes, problem solved. So I know we're almost out of time, but I did want to mention something. One of the really, really good sci-fi fantasy writers out there, who I like his stuff. I think Zealeus will also agree he likes his stuff. And that, of course, is Brandon Sanderson.
Indeed.
He had some thoughts about how high fantasy just is not really working in this streaming world environment now. And I just want to read it real quick just so that, and maybe if y'all have opinions.
Wait, are there any spoilers for Wheel of Time? Because I'm starting to watch it on TV.
No.
Okay.
No. He just basically said, streaming has had a big problem with epic fantasy, and this has me worried. Rings of Power and Wheel of Time have not gone as well as I would have hoped. Shadow and Bone lasted only 2 seasons after a very strong first season. Streaming hasn't figured out epic fantasy yet. Maybe this is a holdover from network television days where they're trying to make the episodes fit into the structure of how episodic television used to work, rather than filming an 8-hour movie and showing it in chunks. But maybe that's a bad idea. All I know is right now we haven't seen really great epic fantasy film television since the early and mid seasons of Game of Thrones. $50 million episode, $50 million per episode has not done it. So it's not a matter of the money they're throwing at it. The other thing we haven't seen is any of these shows really taking off to the extent that I would like with the general public.
Mm.
I can't disagree. I think that is part of, and I think that that's that there are a lot of shows that try to go off of like manga or books, and because they try to fit it into the episode, they try to wrap everything into a fucking bow in the 24 minutes or 45 minutes, however long your episodes are. It just falls. A lot of these shows fall apart because the pacing gets weird, or they have to skip like a lot of steps instead of, so like the intrigue and the suspense and all that stuff kind of just get flushed in the toilet because they've only got X amount of minutes.
Yeah, it's tricky. So have you watched Wheel of Time or read it at all?
I have not yet.
Yeah. So I could kind of see where that's going to happen in Wheel of Time already. So like I've only seen 3 episodes.
Yeah.
But it's pretty, I mean, I've read enough epic high fantasy where they're introducing certain characters and tropes where I'm like, okay, I can already see where this is going. And I'm sure in the book, because it's like, 18 books or something ridiculous, they go into great detail, right? But in the books or a TV show, you can only go so deep. Like there's some characters that are introduced that are like, haha, I'm evil, you will hate me. And I'm assuming there's some actual complexity and layers to them in the books. Because
there's 14 books.
14, thank you. Because they can get into that. But a lot of it comes back to, for me, is what are the reasons that that Game of Thrones was so good?
Yep.
Was the writing was just fucking phenomenal.
Yep.
I mean, there are scenes, and the thing is, a lot of the fantastic scenes were not in the book, or if the scene was, the actual script was written by the brothers.
Yeah.
So it's very clear that, to me, epic fantasy on its own, and he's right, Sanderson, epic fantasy on its own is not going to sell a series to the public.
Yep.
It's just not. And it's got to be the dialogue. Like that dialogue has to work, and you have to have a character, because you look at like some of the great scenes, for instance, in Game of Thrones, and it's Tyrion Lannister.
Yeah.
He, to me, is what, I mean, there's other great characters, obviously, but you look at like basically all the really good, like, oh my God, this is amazing scene. He was in them. He had that presence, but he also had the script to get both together. Both the actor was phenomenal, and you get him to pull together, and all the other characters then fleshed it out. And you're right, I have not seen that. I actually have only watched season 1 of Ring of Power because it felt stilted. And the thing is, the cinematography is some of the best cinematography.
Mm-hmm.
It is absolutely beautiful. But you still need the story to go with it. And actually, good counterpoint would be Dune Part 2. Have you seen Dune 2?
I haven't seen either of them.
So I feel like Game of Thrones, man, I keep on missing it, my franchises. I feel like Ring of Power had great cinematography, but it was just there to show off their $50 million episode budget, right?
Gotcha,
It was just like, it was basically TV porn. I was like, look at this beautiful scene, but it didn't really add anything other than being like, wow, this is beautiful.
Right.
Whereas if Dune 2, so the first Dune, the new Dune, the first Dune, it's a good movie, right? Like 7 out of 10. The second one is either like 9 or 10 out of 10. Absolutely phenomenal. Part of it is because the cinematography, I would say, is about on par with Ring of Power. But the difference is that the way that they do the cinematography, it actually advances and pushes the storyline.
Gotcha.
Like they have these scenes that are absolutely majestic and perfect for the characters in the plot that is happening at the time.
Mhm.
And it only adds to the story, and fills in the story, if anything. Whereas Ring of Power, it's like, wow, that's beautiful, but it doesn't actually do anything to advance the story at all.
Right.
So coming full circle, I fully agree with Sanderson. Is that when you look at outside that first 5 seasons of Game of Thrones, there hasn't been like really good TV from a high fantasy perspective. I would actually argue though that I think at least that oh my gosh, what's the one he mentioned that was canceled after the second season? Shadow and Bone.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good TV. I thought both the first and second season were really good.
Mhm.
There were some weak parts, mainly because a certain person could act out of a paper bag, but there were some really good parts.
Right.
So that one I was actually really disappointed about.
Yeah.
But you look at it, Netflix has tried a lot of these. Usually the young adult variety. It happened with the Fate Wink saga, and there's others that I can't think off the top of my head because they've done to a bunch of them, and it really makes me sad because I like that stuff.
Yeah.
But they also don't cater outside the core audience of people like me.
Right.
And I think the other hard part too is when you're serialized shows like that, it has to be really good to keep people coming back.
Right.
That's why the shows like the CSIs and NCISs are still so fucking popular. You can just pop that anytime, and who cares what happened 18 seasons ago, right?
Yep.
Versus you can't do that to high fantasy series. Like you have to watch episode after episode after episode. And it can become a lot.
Yeah.
So no, I agree with them. And that's why, like I've said many times, there's a lot of high fantasy. It's really good, but I don't want to actually see it made into TV.
Right.
Because some things are just better in certain formats.
Agreed. And I've been preaching that for a long time as well. So I can't disagree. And I agree with Sanderson as well. I even take it to take, like, I know this is not epic fantasy, but something that bothers me. I understand that that's appealing to the mass audience, but as Zealeus might agree that I'm a bit of a purist when it comes to source material, and one of the things that's always bugged the crap out of me. I understand that in movies you want a beginning, a middle, and a nice wrap up ending. But as a kid who grew up on comic books, the vast majority of comic book movies drive me up an effing wall, especially the Batman stuff. The characters don't die, okay? You put them in Arkham Asylum, and then they break the fuck out later, okay? It's not after an hour and 45-minute adventure, Joker's dead. No, that's not how it works. But I understand, to the not the comic book nerd, they want, yay, good triumphed over evil and evil is dead. But at the same time, I also understand, and Peter Dinklage, who was Tyrion Lannister in Game of Thrones, fucking blew it out of the goddamn water every single time he's on the screen. That's a scene that you are going to be locked in on.
I had it backwards. It was Tywin Lannister I was thinking of, not Tyrion. Don't get me wrong, Tyrion was great, but it was actually Tywin Lannister.
He died early, though.
Yeah, and that's when it started to go downhills after he died.
But I liked it when
that was the beginning of the end.
When Dinklage was on screen, I thoroughly
he was
enjoyed
great. He was, to me, he's second after Tywin.
Yeah,
like no shade on Tywin
Charles
at all.
Dance is Tywin.
No shade on Tyrion.
Yeah.
But Charles Dance, thank you. He was, to me, by far the best when he was on the screen and he pulled it all together.
Right.
Anyways, continue.
Well, I mean, there's definitely actors that were able to, once they got a hold of their character, they were able to personify that character, and that really works. And then if you get a bunch of other actors together who can do that too, that's what makes a winning formula. Whereas, as Zealeus was saying about like Netflix, one of the things that I was excited about, and then once I started watching the the series, I wanted to basically delete all memory of it from my brain was the Cowboy Bebop live action. That there was vague chemistry there. I like the actor who in other stuff outside of Cowboy Bebop that was playing Spike Spiegel, but he was not Spike Spiegel. Then there was also the weird ass like let's reinvent the storylines for everyone, which I was just like, no, don't stop, just stop. If you want to see how to successfully do, at least to start off with, to successfully do a live action adaptation of an anime, look no further than the last Airbender that Netflix is doing and One Piece. They're doing a phenomenal job. The cool thing about One Piece is because they need to push the story along, they're removing a lot of the fluff, so you don't have to go through like 300 episodes to get to where the real action is going. Whereas in the actual anime, I think One Piece has like 1,300 episodes. Netflix will never make 1,300 live action episodes, so you're going to get a much more streamlined adventure, which I'm super excited about. I loved the first season. I can't wait for the second season. Rumor is that the second season is wrapped, but they're already because it takes a long time to like edit and put it all together. They're already filming the third season so that there's not as long of a layoff between seasons. So fingers crossed that's how it goes, and I want more of it.
Of course, the one I'll be very curious of is the next big franchise is Harry Potter on, I think, HBO.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I also wanted, and of course, Henry Cavill's Warhammer 40K, and live action Voltron.
I mean, I think they're two very different enterprises, though, because Harry Potter, we could all be proven wrong. I feel like in a way, like Harry Potter is destined, it's set up to fail.
Yes. Oh no, I fully agree. No,
That's
I
it's
just
like I don't know how you. I mean, yes, I know you had your issues with the movies, but overall, like on their own, I thought the movies were good, and obviously the books and living up to that, I just don't know. Versus Warhammer 40K, outside of like 0.0001% of the population don't know what the fuck is even going on in that show.
Well, no, but the thing is, like with Warhammer 40K, I'm just interested to see how much input Cavill has in it. One, two, they basically they have a universe, and then they can just write whatever the fuck they want to, because there's so much lore, there's so much, there's not a strict storyline to follow.
Yeah, so I'm very fascinated to see what's going to happen with Warhammer 40K series.
Yeah.
Because the books are fun. I mean, they're
not books, they're tomes. Okay.
No, this is true. No, they're omnibuses.
Yes. Tomes are omnibuses. That's what they are. They are not this puny book you speak of.
Ooh, these are books with lots and lots of words.
They are considered deadly weapons when thrown. Anyways, all right.
Protect you from the heretics.
Exactly. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, we have reached the end of our show. Once again, I am going to try to get my stuff back together so we could do this next Thursday. So fingers crossed. If we don't see you next Thursday, we'll do it the following Thursday. But until then, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the Alter Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. For myself, Charlie, and Zealeus, it's been a pleasure giving everything on our heads, our mouths, and of course, our hearts. We'll be back in 1 or 2 Thursdays.
Remember, kids, keep on gaming in the free world.
Amen to that, brother. And we're out. Ta-da! We've successfully navigated the waters yet again. Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum. I don't know why I did that, but whatever.
Because you want to be a pirate tonight.
Yes.
Why not?
Ladies and gentlemen, I forgot what I was gonna say. So, yeah.
Good talk, sir.
Yeah,
Good
talk. Good talk, guys.
Thank you.
Good talk.
Welcome to my TED Talk.
Here's my TED Talk. Thank you for coming. Okay. All right. No. I've thankfully I got the phone call today that said nothing's wrong, but ladies and gentlemen, you go see a if you are out in the sun, go see a dermatologist, especially when you get older. Just make sure that everything's copacetic. Yes, them taking basically razor blading shit off your face hurts, even though they numb it up. It actually hurts a lot more once it becomes unnumbed, but it's always safe. You know, it's safer for it to get looked at. Both my spots that were removed came back benign, so little happy dance.
So what I'm hearing is I will never go into the sun again.
Do not go into the sun.
Empire.
Get yourself a full body suit.
Maybe I already wear one. I just don't need to do it on the show because, as you see, my blinds are closed. For that
Yes,
reason.
exactly.
So I never get sun inside to ruin my perfect porcelain skin.
This is why I live in the basement. There's no sun that comes in here.
I just didn't think you were allowed upstairs.
Well, that too, but we're not going into that, Zealeus.
Oh, sorry.
No, but in all seriousness, we're getting some serious work done to try to combat the flooding that still occasionally happens in the house, and that's why I don't know for 100% sure if there will be a Thursday night hangout next Thursday or not. It really depends on how much damage has been done, and if I have any power outlets down here that I could plug into, because they're ripping all the external walls. They're ripping everything down to cinder blocks. So
fun.
Yeah. So we'll see. But fingers crossed it actually happens. But all right. Let's end this stream. I'll talk to Zealeus off air.